Okay. How does this Ice with the 3? Currently, it is April the 13th, 2026. Okay, so I did say I wasn't going to do any more astrology, but I think I want to make this like a combination of things. So anyway, so I did say in my last video, um, I was talking about K Michelle and Cardi B possibly pulling up on me. Like if I ever like somehow blow up or whatever. Anyway, so and I don't think I didn't fully tell the story of I would say Donald Trump pulling up on me. Basically, if you don't get it, basically last year, um, I predicted Charlie Kirk's death, a month before he passed away. But on October 14th, 2025, I made a video, basically title I believe I predicted Charlie Kirk's death, and so I was just going down the astrology, and I was just probably a little bit more anyway. Because I mean it was Charlie Kirk's birthday. I think Donald Trump gave Charlie Kirk the Medal of Freedom on October 14th as well. But I had made a video that day, and weirdly enough, I tried to post it um on October 14th, but for some reason the video would not upload to any website, Rumble or YouTube, until the next day, or October 15th. So I thought it was kind of weird. The internet was just moving slow, I guess. But anyway, that was one thing. So so in that video I was like just saying how I predicted Charlie Kirk's death and all this stuff, and I had said some music videos in regards to Charlie Kirk's in regards to me predicting Charlie Kirk's death. Um, so flash forward, because I'm trying to get to the part where I think Donald Trump actually pulled up on me. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But so on days go by. I think on October 16th or 17th, I run to a store, a local store, or two stores. First, I went to the furthest store, away the one that was furthest away from the house, to get some stuff or whatever. And the parking lot was full of cars. And I live inside a small town, so it's kind of rare for the parking lot to be full, mind you. So I buy my stuff, and I get out of the store, and I said get back inside the car, and then I get a phone call. Um, and the relative told me to get something else from another store. So let me pause a second. Okay, so I'm driving down the road. Next, you know, this white van. It just passed by me, driving fast as hell. And so I'm like, okay, that was kind of crazy, but whatever. And so I get to the other local store, go inside the store and get the stuff or whatever. And then as soon as I get out of the store, a Mexican lady, she walks up to me and puts a solid, puts a gold ring in my hand, in one hand, and a pair of Apple AirPods in the other. And I think she said, pick one. Keep in mind that I have a list. Um, I gave Donald Trump a list of stuff that that I wanted or whatever, because I thought I was going to prevent like an assassination attempt on him. Because at the time, a lot of astrologers were saying that the 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 eclipse, the upcoming eclipse, it was a king killer, and that it could possibly kill Donald Trump. But I said no, it's not gonna kill Donald Trump. It's gonna piss him off. It's not gonna it's not gonna kill him. I said it's gonna in the end. Pause a second. Okay, so I'm back. So I said in the end, this eclipse was gonna take out Bill Clinton, and I had a little joke here using the Salt River Bay quarter. Well, at first I thought it was a regular quarter. Keep in mind that I'm broke as hell, and so I found this gunked up quarter, this one right here. But I found another one that was similar to how this one was, another quarter in my car, and kind of find out it's another Salt River Bay quarter. This is how gunked up. Actually the original one was way worse than this, but it's crazy. I found another Salt River Bay quarter in that car. But I was I had this this saying that I was making, that I said all the way back, I believe in August and September. I was saying that this upcoming eclipse is gonna be it's gonna piss off Donald Trump. It's not gonna kill him. I said it's gonna take out Bill Clinton in the end. So what was I saying? So I'm in this parking lot. Keep in mind, now, like I said, I live inside of a small town. So to have a full parking lot, to have the parking lot at these stores to be full, it's very, very rare. And so the Mexican lady, she put the gold ring inside of my hand, in one hand, and a pair of Apple AirPods in the other hand. And she was like, pick one. And I was like, man, I don't have any money. And so I reached in the back of my pocket, and I gave her the last quarter that I had. It wasn't a Salt River Bay quarter. I forgot what kind of quarter it was, but anyway. And I said, here, you can have this. I don't have anything. Here you go. And then so what else? And so she said, God bless you. And so I turn around, and I'm just really in shock, because I'm like, I posted this list in regards to like I wanted like Donald Trump gave me like $13 million and a 13-ounce solid gold medal and all this other stuff or whatever. And so I was like, it was just weird. And so I'm just in shock. And so I look up and I see this white van that passed me driving fast as hell. And so in the driver's seat, it looked like it was Donald Trump. It looked like it was Donald Trump. And so, but the thing about it is, this man, he looked a little skinnier in the face than Donald Trump. Than how Donald Trump's on TV. Who knows? Maybe Donald Trump, he walks around with a ballistic vest on that makes him look a little bit bigger than what he is. I don't know, but the person I saw outside of the car, like they had gold hair and Donald Trump's face a little bit. Or maybe I was just, I don't know. So anyway, I looked, but I act like I don't see it, because it's like, I'm like, is this real? Is this happening? And then so I just walk off, because I'm like, there's nothing to really say. And plus I'm in shock, because I'm like, the lady put a gold ring inside her hand and a pair of AirPods, and you're like, what the world? And so I walk to my car, and like, I leave, because I'm like, I'm not really, yeah. And it's probably that was probably the best the best way that could have played out, because those cars that were inside the parking lot, they could have been like Secret Service, and they could have been ready to shoot the fuck out or snipe the fuck out of my ass. Who knows? I have another story too. Let me pause a second though. Oh, let me pause a second. Pretty much, this is, so like I said in like a lot of my previous videos or whatever, there have been white airplanes flying over my house ever since then. And I guess it's probably the FBI monitoring me or whatever. They probably think that I'm some kind of sleeper agent or something. So let's see here. Let me pause for a second. Well, I think I'm gonna go down the list of the stuff that I asked Donald Trump for or whatever. It was really a joke, because I was like, well, no, I'll probably say Donald Trump's life. He's gonna end up giving me like all this stuff or whatever. So let me read this list or whatever. Let me pause a second. Okay, so here's my little full list or whatever. Now keep in mind, yesterday I said, not yesterday. I've already made a previous video telling K. Michelle and Cardi B that I love them both. So it's not like I hate Cardi B. No, I don't. There's two people that I hate in regards to public figures. That's Andy Witt of Alabama. He's a Republican. And Dan Patrick from Texas. He's also a Republican. Anyway, so don't beat my, don't pull up on me, Cardi B and K. Michelle. And I think I made a mention of New York, or Tiffany Pollard, or Tiffany New York Pollard from The Flavor of Love. Because if you don't beat my ass, just do it right. Because I'm like, at this point, my life's so fucking shitty. But this is never gonna like see the light of day. It's like, anyway. Nobody gives a shit about my channel. You know what, God, what can you make happen to actually make Donald Trump give me like $13 million and all this other stuff or whatever? So let me go down this list or whatever. And if this stuff that actually does manifest, K. Michelle, please don't sue me. Cardi B, please don't sue me. And New York, I hope that you get a new show anywhere. I love you and I miss you. Now, so I said, and this is on True Social. So I said, @real Donald Trump. Here's my full Cardi B / Joe Biden interview style wish list. I'm still shocked that Biden did the interview right after Cardi released her hit single WAP, or Wet Ass Vagina. Candace Owens said that Cardi treated failed President Joe Biden like he was Santa Claus. So why not test this out and see where this goes? Keep in mind, I posted this on, it was 3 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination, so it was on September the 7th, 2025. Because I knew something was going to happen, but I was like, I didn't know who it was going to happen to. Anyway. So Candace Owens said that Cardi treated failed President Joe Biden like he was Santa Claus. So why not test this out and see where this goes? But I want this before Christmas. And Christmas already passed now, so anyway. So that was 2020. This is 2025. Another thing. God does have a sense of humor. The director of Home Alone 2, his name is Chris Columbus. I forgot about this. The Salt River Bay Quarters is in reference to Christopher Columbus. And Jesus Christ. Bill Clinton was subpoenaed to testify one day after Christopher Columbus Day, which is October 13th, 2020. October 13th. But not only that, October 14th, which again was the day that Bill Clinton was subpoenaed to testify in front of Congress. But it was also Charlie Kirk's birthday. And it's also George Floyd's birthday. Anyway. And the Salt River Bay Court, I believe, is in reference to Christopher Columbus. So, there you go. And another reference to Christopher Columbus is I think that he came to the Americas, I believe, on November 13th as well. I think he made 2 voyages to the United States or whatever. October 13th and November 13th, I guess. I forgot now. Anyway, you know, the government came back open on November 13th, 2025. And that's when it was shown in Bill Clinton's chart that he was going to go through the same astrology as the beginning of his impeachment, which happened on December 19th, 1998. However, it was shown in his chart on December the 26th, 1998. But that was the beginning. The trial for Bill Clinton, it was shown to happen inside of his chart. It happened on January 9th, 1999. However, it was shown in Bill Clinton's chart on January the 4th, 1999. And the astrology for the beginning of Bill Clinton's trial is shown to happen on or around the date of June the. Let me pause a second. So yeah, the astrology for the end of the trial. The astrology for the beginning of the trial for Bill Clinton is shown to happen on June the 13th, 2026. So let's see here. Let me get back to I think I was going on this list of stuff that I had asked Donald Trump for or whatever. But anyway, so I'm just quoting my what I requested on September the 7th, 2025. So let me get back started. So I said another thing. God does have a sense of humor. The director of Home Alone 2, his name is Chris Columbus, and apparently wanted to remove your 7-second clip from the movie of Home Alone 2. Wouldn't it be funny if the Danny Williams / Clinton allegation is true? And if you don't know, Danny Williams / Clinton is a black man from Little Rock, Arkansas, who claims to be Bill Clinton's black biological son. And looking at the astrology to me clearly shows that that boy is Bill Clinton's biological son. However, that is my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Just saying, the astrology shows that something huge happened in Bill Clinton's life around the time that Danny Williams / Clinton was born. So anyway. So I said, wouldn't it be funny if the Danny Williams / Clinton allegation is true? I can only assume that currently Chris Columbus is a Democrat. And I said his birth name basically says all there is needed to say about him. And basically, Chris Columbus was a slave trader. And that's that. Reportedly or allegedly. Or a lot of people's opinions. I'm burnt out. Just trying to make a video here. Anyway, his birth name basically says all there is needed to say about him, in my opinion. Democrats just doing what Democrats do best. Anyway, my list. Jennifer Boozer's shop Canabama back open. Jennifer Boozer's Alabama shop, Canabama back open by any means necessary. And marijuana rescheduled. I also want Representative Andy Witt questioned in regards to him stating that he wanted to shut down shops that heavily invested in the 2018 Farm Bill. In several interviews, I may add. He is the new Roy Moore of Alabama, in my opinion. And Tommy Tuberville is doing the same thing that Jeff Sessions did in your first term. Think about it. Anyway, and it's weird that Pam Bundy was apparently reportedly fired within like 1 year of Donald Trump's presidency. And I think Jeff Sessions, he didn't last 1 year. He didn't last his let me pause a second to get my words right. Okay, so I think what I was trying to say was that Jeff Sessions, he stayed on as Attorney General about the same length of time as Pam Bundy did. And you know that Jeff Sessions, he stepped down from being the senator of Alabama. And that's what allowed Doug Jones to actually become a senator for Alabama for, I believe, 4 years. Anyway. So moving on. Continuing on my list. Look into the Alabama. I want Donald Trump to look into the Alabama casino situation as well. But that is no longer important to me due to the possible increase in crime associated with casinos. But it would be nice to have the Powerball and Mega Millions in Alabama instead of having to drive to Georgia. Now to piss off anyone who loves number 13. A 13-ounce solid gold medal. Solid. $13 million. A Starlink plus 13 years of free service. 13 years of free Verizon wireless cellular service. 13 years of free Apple and Samsung yearly device upgrades. And I get to keep the devices. All of them. That includes watches, earbuds, everything. yearly upgrades, and I get to keep the devices. All of them. And yeah, I said watches. A blue check mark from evil Elon Musk. Well, my Twitter account is like gone now, so it's like whatever. If you can bring my stuff back, then great. A Cybertruck, fully loaded for my troubles. A Toyota Prius Prime. A Jeep 392, a white one. As I said, for the rest of these devices, the highest end model with the highest amount of storage and RAM. Black model with the largest screen size. So I said a Mac Studio Pro Max plus 4 XDR screens plus the best stand and the accessories. A MacBook Pro Max, an iPad, an iPhone, a Samsung phone, a Samsung tablet, a Geisley sponsorship, a 5.56 rifle and a 308 rifle, a Glock sponsorship. I wanted a 43X Koa. But heck, I would love a Glock 43X Koa, but I'm looking at that SIG. Jesus Christ, let me get the name of it. See, Sean Ryan gave one to what was his written back or whatever. He's let me pause a second. He's an exorcist. Let me pause. Okay, so the exorcist's name, his name is Chad Ripperger. Hopefully I said his name right. And the name of the pistol that I'm looking for now is the Sig Sauer P211 GTO with the Sig Romeo X Pro red dot. I'm after that now. I wasn't that much of a fan of Sig, but when I saw that pistol and then plus all the upgrades that it has already that it comes with in box, I'm like, okay, I want that pistol. But anyway, so I want a Glock sponsorship and a Sig sponsorship, a federal sponsorship, ammo, lots and lots of ammo because we're dealing with the Clintons here. A Mountain House sponsorship. Because I'm a prepper first before an astrologer. So anyway. So a truckload of their products. A Danganronpa anime sponsorship. Like that's going to happen. A Case Closed or / Detective Conan anime sponsorship. Also for DC Douglas to voice his iconic character. Oh yeah, I also want a Trigicon sponsorship too. I want a Trigicon VCOG SEO. And if they ever make a VCOG 1 to 10 power, I want that. Anyway. So also with I said I want a DC Douglas to voice his iconic character. Also, there's this other guy. I just thought about this too. I want either for Cardi B or for Nicki Minaj, one of the two. Y'all can fight over this guy. I want them to do a Resident Evil themed music video. And star, what is this man's name? I think it's Cody something. Let me pause a second. Okay, so speaking of Wesker, so the guy's name is Cody Rhodes. I think he's a WWE fighter. I think this is him right here. So either for Cardi B or Nicki Minaj or both of them to do a Resident Evil themed music video starring this guy's Wesker. Just an idea. Anyway, yeah. So WWE superstar Cody Rhodes as Wesker from Resident Evil. Or from Resident Evil. Anyway, that's just a stupid idea. It just popped up inside of my head like a few days ago when I think I saw him on the Hot Wings. Anyway, the Hot Ones, whatever. I was like, wow, he looks exactly like Wesker, a real life Wesker. He even has the cape situation going on too. But anyway, moving on. So I also said I want Sean Ryan to interview Lindsey Graham. I hate that guy. And I bet Sean hates him even more than I do. But maybe I'm wrong. He did interview Gavin. Right? He did interview Gavin. So I also want Caroline Leavitt and Kayleigh McEnany, both press secretaries, because you need both of them to interview this man, and Tucker Carlson to review and fact check the entire Sean Ryan / Gavin Newsom interview. That'll be epic. I said sign astrology, Ice Wizard 3, the God of Astrology. I added some more stuff to this list or whatever. I'm just trying. I need to get on with the main point of this video. So I think I stopped in regards to my story time situation in regards to Donald Trump talking about how he may have pulled up on me in a parking lot of a local store. Now, and I said that's I think that was the beginning of like white airplanes flying over my house. So maybe I'm being investigated. I'm just an astrologer. That's all I am. That's all I do. Some other stuff happened. Let me pause a second because I'm missing something right now. I'm supposed to be saying something. Okay, what I wanted to say was that pretty much I mentioned this Mexican lady putting this solid gold ring inside of my hand and a box of unopened AirPods in my hand. I mentioned that inside of a video that I made on October 23rd, 2025, and the timestamp for that is the name of the video, I believe it was talking about food stamps, and I think like November 1st or whatever, food stamps was going to expire, something like that, because the government was shut down. And the timestamp that I mentioned this Mexican lady putting a gold ring inside of my hand, it said 35 minutes and 50 seconds, I believe. So that's that. Let me pause a second. I forgot to say why I did make a reference to Resident Evil. Okay, well, Resident Evil 2 was released on January, I believe, 1998. That's Resident Evil 2. And so pretty much 7 days later, that's when Bill Clinton claimed to not have had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. And so in Resident Evil 3 came out, I believe, in 1999, but anyway, this is all around the time of the huge Bill Clinton scandal. However, in recent times, and I would not have known this because I made this list all the way back on September the 7th, 2025. This is 3 days before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I kept talking about Resident Evil, and weirdly enough, on February the 27th, 2026, Bill Clinton he was subpoenaed to testify on February 27th, 2026, but also on the same day, Resident Evil 9 came out on the same day, mind you. So this is just crazy. Let me pause a second. Okay, I'm back. So I also need to add that I missed another thing from the list. Let me pause. Well, I won't go and try to go through this. So in my list, I forgot to add an executive. I wanted from Donald Trump to sign an executive order to restore some of the Tuskegee historical monuments in Tuskegee, Alabama, and also for some additional funds to go to schools in the Macon County area in Alabama, so that kids can have some kind of fun and educational field trip. Let me pause a second. Okay, I'm back. Now I did post an update to this list on March 19th, 2026, and I said I originally posted this crazy Cardi B/Joe Biden wish list because I was hoping to prevent a huge catastrophe or an assassination in regards to Donald Trump, Trump Jr., and his circle using astrology. And so I did make a video post on August, I believe, the 23rd, 2025. This is slightly a month before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. But anyway, moving on. So the original post was okay. So this original post was made on September 7th, 2025 at 11:21 a.m. And Charlie Kirk was assassinated days later on September 10th, 2025 at 12:22 p.m. I did make 3 additional posts 4 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated in relation to a song by Iggy Azalea titled "Started." But that's besides the point of this current post. The September 7th, 2025 at 11:21 original post was meant to be a warning. It was meant to be a joke and a warning, but anyway, to prevent an assassination. And if I made it in time, it would be a funny, stupid request to Donald Trump since I may have saved his life using astrology. It's stupid, I know. Sorry, but I knew something bad was going to happen during the month of September 2025. I just didn't know exactly who the affected person would be via the astrology. Yet I also know that some things are just simply fated to happen, and some things just cannot be changed. Anyway, here's the link to the video where Candace Owens claims that Cardi B treated failed President Joe Biden as though he was Santa Claus, which was an interesting basis for the creation of this request list. Stupid idea. I know. I just wanted to prove that I was the best astrologer in the world, or at the very minimum, the next Gene Dixon. And so I went on to talk about getting Jennifer Boozer's shop Candyman back open, but I also mentioned a black man named Jabari Peoples, who was killed by a police officer days before Representative Andy Witt's bill HB 445 went into effect. Also on the same day of June the 23rd, 2025, the police officers in Aaliyah, or I think the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, they were raiding hemp shops, who were at the time legal at the time, because the HB 445 was not to go into effect until July the 1st, 2025. So Jabari Peoples, a black man, was killed on the same day that these police officers were raiding these hemp shops. And I've talked to Jennifer Boozer and via a tweet, and she said that in her opinion they were raiding their shops because they didn't want these hemp shop owners to have enough money to file a lawsuit, or a successful lawsuit. Anyway, so that's that. But a black man was killed because of, in my opinion, and probably in a lot of people's opinions, Andy Witt's short-sightedness and his bill HB 445. That's why I say he's a new Roy Moore of Alabama, in my opinion. Also, another thing. Let me pause a second. Also, Kay Ivey, she signed a bill called Act 2023-507 or slash HB 289, which allows for police body camera footage not to be shown, not to be considered for public record. And pretty much, so the reason why I don't think that the Jabari People's family they have not seen the full body camera footage in regards to the police officer shooting in regards to Jabari Peoples. So it's because of this bill that Kay Ivey signed. So Kay Ivey, she signed HB 445 into law, and she also signed Act 2023-507 or HB 289. So that's that black family had to deal with that situation because of those two bills. So in my opinion, Jabari Peoples would still be alive if HB 445 was not in effect, and the family would be at, if even the boy, even if something happened with the boy, at least the family will have closure in regards to seeing their son's last moments on this earth. and yet they can't because of this bill HB 289, restricting police body camera footage from the public. There we go. So I did rewatch Cardi B's interview with Joe Biden, and me and her are pretty much we're I'm not gonna say we're on the same exact page, but we want something done in regards to what she was asking Joe Biden for. And at the end of the video, Joe Biden, he said that he always keeps his promises. However, that was that was a lot in my opinion. No, he said he always keeps his word, because with these politicians, you gotta have a degree in trying to anyway. I think they start off as lawyers, and when you're dealing with the lawyers, with lawyer talk, you have to pay attention to the semantics, every word, every syllable, because one word could change the meaning of everything. And so he didn't. So Joe Biden, he didn't say that he kept his promises. I think he said he kept his word. But anyway, I think I got his exact quote written down. So anyway, let me pause a second to catch my breath. And so I continued this True Social post with in regards to Donald Trump. I said that his indifference surrounding the legalization of marijuana is costing not only black lives, but all lives, mind you. And keep in mind that Joe Rogan, he pushed for Donald Trump's presidential win because I think Donald Trump, he was saying that around the time that he wanted to decriminalize it or something like that and reschedule it. He says it's about time. He has a whole Truth Social post about it, but I'm like, that's not what this video is about. This video is going to be about basically me pointing out that Joe Biden did not grant all of Cardi B's requests. Yeah, he did say he would. Yeah, he didn't. Even though I'm 30 some minutes into this video, I'm sorry. Let me pause. Okay, so not only does Joe Rogan want marijuana rescheduled and probably legalized, because alcohol is legal, and I think it causes way more deaths than marijuana. I think that Mike Tyson wants marijuana legalized. I think that Sean Ryan, he may want marijuana legalized or rescheduled, because he's into psychedelics, and he said it helped heal him with his problems. And there are a lot of other people that agree with that sentiment. As a matter of fact, I believe that recently, I believe on April the 10th, I think a Supreme Court ruled distilling alcohols in your own home not legal. That it is for these states to ban people from making moonshine. I'm gonna just try to paraphrase, but pause. I mean, let's get the exact pause. Okay, so I need to move on to the second time that some an event happened between possibly Donald Trump pulling up on me or something like that, and then I'm gonna go down what Cardi B asked Joe Biden for and how he failed her. So let me get the let me think about the event that happened when this situation happened. That I think it may have been Donald Trump, or it may have been some kind of situation. Let me pause. Okay, so I got the date now. Pretty much on December the 7th, 2025. So I went to the same local store that I went to, that I usually go to. And so I buy a can of beer. And it's inside his bag. And so as I'm in line, this black man, he walks inside of the door. Because I was there just to grab one thing. And there was like a couple cans of beer. And so I grabbed my stuff. So I walk outside the store, grab my stuff, get in line. And I think I'm the only person in line, right? No, there's one person in front of me. And then so this black man who I've never seen before, like I said, we live inside of a small town. Or I live inside a small town. So I've never seen this guy before, and he's dressed slightly different than how the local people dress. And so I noticed that right off the bat. And I'm like, okay. And so this man, instead of walking around the store, where he looks at me and he gets in line right behind me. I'm like, okay. And so I'm keeping an eye on his hands. And so well, not really looking at him, but not looking at him. And so I buy my beer, and I buy my beer, and so I go walk out the door, and so for some reason I look up in the sky. No, I look down. I see like some stuff, something like it's like it was snowing, but it wasn't snowing. So anyway, so I looked upside the sky. And I'm like, okay, it's not snowing. What the world? And I look close at the bag, and the bag is just spraying out uh foam, I guess, from the beer. And so this is December the 7th, it's Sunday, December the 7th, 2025. And so I look around. I'm like, okay, I don't see nobody, and I didn't hear anything. And the girl, the cans were intact when she put inside the bag and all those stuff, whatever. As a matter of fact, she even drop it inside the bag. She just put the cans on top. You know how you put bag on the counter flat, and then put the cans inside the bag and pull the cans up, or whatever. So nothing weird should have happened to cause the cans to explode. And so I didn't look at the cans. I just saw liquid spraying through the bag, and that's weird because you would think that if something's gonna leak or whatever inside of a bag, it's gonna leak. It's gonna be in the bag. But no, this can was the contents of the beer is spraying through the bag, so it's like something shot through it, and then caused it to spray everywhere. And I'm like, okay. And so I go back inside the local store, and the guy he's standing there, he's looking at me. He was like, he looked at the cashier. He said, "Look what you did." And I'm like, and I know the cashier. We used to go to school together. But and so she didn't say that. She said, "What's going on?" I said, "I didn't drop it. It just started spraying everywhere." She was like, "Okay, well, go get you another one or whatever, and we'll call it a day." And so apparently, it's like I looked at the door, and apparently it was spraying. The contents was spraying out even before I walked out the door, because it was stuff on the door. The contents on the door. So I'm like, so yeah, crazy. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess somebody's targeting me. But the thing about it is that, see, my life is so shitty. My life is so fucking shitty that I'm like, and at the time, I was one having some astrology, some bad astrology going on inside my charts. I knew something bad was gonna happen. But I'm like, and something even worse happened in my life. So I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna do some fucked up shit and try to kill me, do it. Just get it over with. I don't really give a shit at this point. I said this inside of a video I made on December the 14th, 2025. I forgot what it's called. But anyway, so that's another incident that happened when I went to a local store, and like it was just like some weird shit going on. So, and then around the same time, like days later, because this is December the 14th, right? No, days before that. No. Okay. So that event happened on a Sunday, December 7th, 2025. Okay, so on December the 10th, 2025, a lady, she came into the local store, and she was talking to a girl who worked there and had friends, apparently. And I guess later she said she was having problems with spiritual problems or whatever. And so the girl who worked there, who knows me, she said, well, he's into spirituality. I'm like, I'm not into spirituality. I'm just look, this astrology shit, it won't, yeah, it is what it is. And so I'm like, look, whatever. Look, here's my contact is here and all that stuff, whatever. If you want to send me your birth time and location, all that stuff, whatever, just do it. I don't really give it. How much do you charge? Nothing. I don't want to do this shit. I mean, I didn't say it like that. I was a little bit more professional. I'm like, look, I don't charge anything. Just give me your information. I'll try this up and see what's going on. And so that was the 10th of December. And so I think days later, she sent me an email, and I gave her a full chart reading. I gave her as much information I could in regards to the astrology, and she never got back with me. But anyway, so I ended up getting a random email from apparently an Indian man who was some kind of pedophile or whatever, And see, I should not have been reading anybody's charts around that time because I had bad astrology going on. So either I could get it wrong, or it could lead to something like a bad event. So, but I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and just do it, because who knows? Because yeah, even with the bad astrology, you just have to just go through it and just like see what try to figure out what the point of it is. Let me pause a second. But see what the point of it is, because everything happens for a reason. You know, like to get his, I won't even consider myself good. I'm okay, but probably better than average. But you don't have to learn astrology to yeah, whatever. You just need to know that everything happens for a reason, good or bad. Anyway, so my point. So I was so depressed in regards to this. So there's this Indian man. He had the same birth. His birthday was one day after my ex's, and I mentioned this inside of my videos I made inside December. And I said I made a video on December the 25th, 2025. That's how I almost quit astrology, because I was so upset about this situation, because the man his astrology was already bad. It was terrible. But not only that, his birthday was one day after my ex's. And I'm like, and everything inside my life, my life's been shitty for a while. So it's like, I was just hoping that something good could come up. But I knew that the bad astrology was just, it wasn't going to let anything good happen. Something good happened. Something good did happen, but it's like, Anyway, so around that time, I had ran out of storage on my phone. And so I was trying to do some odd end jobs or whatever to get up enough money to get like a 5 terabyte hard drive or whatever. And so I managed to get just a little money, and I was like, it wasn't enough. So I was like, you know what? I was still upset about this this chart reading in regards to the man, and then also the lady, she didn't get back to me. So I'm like, whatever. I was like, fuck this shit, God. If you're gonna make it work, make it work. And so because I thought I think the man was the FBI, and they was just messing with me. Oh, and not to forget that on December the 4th, I believe, I have 3 phones. And one of the phones they started it started talking one day, and it was like, I cannot be silent anymore. That's what it said. And it sounded like it was Dan Bongino. I got a tweet from I got a tweet, and it was in reference to Dan Bongino, and I think he said inside of this his voice came through the phone, and it said, I cannot be silent anymore. And I'm like, okay, what, whatever. And so that I think that was like around the time that they announced that he had caught the January 6th pipe bomber or whatever on his birthday. He announced that. But not only that, I think around the same time, I think Tim Pool, there were some shots that were fired around his house or whatever. And so inside this video I was making about that, there was some shots fired around my house too. But that's common in Alabama. People shoot all the time. But anyway, just a lot of stuff. So my phone just started talking randomly, and not only did I get an email from this Indian guy, and I only had like 30 some subscribers, 30 subscribers. So this Indian man out of nowhere pops up and says, "Oh yeah, read my chart." I'm like, man. And so with the little money that I had scrounged up or whatever, I say, you know what, God, you figure this out, because I'm done. And so instead of trying to buy a hard drive or whatever, I bought some adult toys. And so I bought 3 adult toys, stainless steel adult toys. And if you don't get the story or whatever, just go back and watch I think I made a video on December 25th, 2025, talking about these adult toys. This is 1 of 3. Keep in mind, I didn't look at the dimensions of these toys. They're tiny. They're tiny. They're tiny, like the finger tiny. And this is like the smallest one. This is the size of a Tootsie Roll. And so I didn't look at the measurements. I was just pissed off, and I was like, you know what? I was gonna blow this little money or whatever. And so, kind of find out, I bought these toys, and the box comes, and I'm thinking that the box was gonna be so big it was gonna break the mailbox, but no. It was a tiny ass box. I was like, these people tricked my ass. But in the end, this adult toy, Jesus Christ, This adult toy is the same size as the reported girth and length of Bill Clinton. Because that Salt River Bay quarter, I've been referencing it for a while. And you know how they say that Donald Trump has small hands or whatever? Damn, I can't even get to the... Well, you know how they say that Donald Trump has small hands? Well, Bill Clinton... Let me get this article real quick. Let me pause a second. Okay, so there's an article titled "The Presidential Penis: A Short History," and it talks about Bill Clinton's size because apparently he's been inside of so many sexual scandals that it's like. So the article says, well, it goes like this. It says, thanks to various sex scandals, we have detailed descriptions, plural, by multiple people apparently, of Bill Clinton's penis, according to Robert Bennett, Clinton's lawyer in the Paula Jones case. In terms of size, shape, direction, whatever the devious mind wants to concoct, the president is a normal man. There are no blemishes. There are no moles. There are no growths. The Independent offered a more prosaic account. His erect penis is about 5 inches long, has the circumference of a quarter, and heads off at an angle, presumably rather like a finger bent at the joint. So that's also what this Salt River Bay quarter was in reference to when I was talking about the eclipse. You can find it. You can find that article. Like I said, it's called The Presidential Penis: A Short History, and it's from the New Republic. So here's 5 Salt River Bay quarters, and that's basically 5 inches right there. And so I did not know that this adult toy will turn out to be the same dimensions or the same reported dimensions as Bill Clinton. Hopefully it's no fault the bag. Cause I'm trying to figure out a way to have it so I can actually feature it. Let's see here. It's gonna add. That's gonna add like a couple of. Oh, let me see if this works. Hopefully it's no fault the bag. So this adult toy that I bought around that time, apparently, is the same size as Bill Clinton. And keep in mind, these are all Salt River Bay quarters, and that's in reference to Christopher Columbus. But not only that, one day after Christopher Columbus Day was the day that Bill Clinton was originally subpoenaed to testify. But not only that, that was Charlie Kirk's birthday and George Floyd's birthday. Anyway, I forgot what brought me to this point. Let me pause. Okay, so I think the article mentions Marco Rubio, and he was talking about Donald Trump having small hands, but 5 inches really. But anyway, it's fun and funny. They've I think Iran, they released a lot of videos, and they there was one video talking about Donald Trump's hands and stuff like that too. So I'm like, look, I mean, I would trust this article more than I would trust anybody else's commentary about anybody else, because apparently Bill Clinton has had a lot of sexual scandals. But I want to end that there. So let's see. Let me move on. I forgot what I was trying to say. There's so much information. So much stuff has happened. I think I was talking about all my run-ins in regards to possibly Donald Trump and his people or whatever. I'm like, look, if you're gonna kill me, just get it over with. I'm like, I'm burnt the fuck out. I'm like, some people will be like terrified. I'm like, my life is so fucking shitty. My life is so fucking shitty. Like, I'm like, you're making it interesting, honestly. I mean, because maybe I was targeted when they shot a hole through the beer or whatever. If they did shot a hole through the beer, and like and they're like, and like now you see how Donald Trump feels when an assassin tries to target him. I'm like, look, my life is so shitty. I'm not gonna say I welcome the early death, but I'm like, whatever. I'm like, I'm tired. I mean, you know what? It'd be funny if Donald Trump was like he would be like, you know what? Here's the, you did say that Charlie Kirk, I did say that Charlie Kirk's net worth was $13 million before he passed away, which is insane. And so, like I said, I made that list. In regards to get the $13 million, the 13-ounce solid gold medal or whatever. I made that list before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I could not have known that. It's crazy. And also, kind of find out is that Pam Bundy and RFK Jr. they they uh they were raiding a lot of hemp shops at the same time that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. and you know, I kept saying that, I kept advocating for the rescheduling and legalization of marijuana. It's crazy how all this stuff just ties in together, everything. And I haven't talked about Resident Evil. Anyway, there's so much stuff, so much stuff. Let me pause for a second, so I need to get back on track. But I do need to say this: everything I've said so far has been a warning. If Donald Trump and his people are watching it, so I'm like, look, my life is so shitty. Everything I've said it has been a warning. It hasn't been like a threat or anything like that. Anyway, pause. Okay, so now on to Cardi B and what she asked Joe Biden for. So she said she wanted Trump out of office, and she said his mouth gets us in trouble too much. That was the first thing she asked for. Uh, Looking when I rewatched her interview with Joe Biden, that's why I surmised from what she said to Joe Biden. So everything I'm saying now is my opinion in regards to what she said to Joe Biden. So moving on. So also she said, Cardi B, she said she doesn't want to be lied to anymore in regards to the pandemic or the plandemic. In my opinion, she wants to know when the plandemic will be over, a timeline of the end, or when will there be a cure. So also, I think she said she wanted free Medicare. She wanted free college education, more after school activities for students, and that's there's a student. I agree, because I'm not saying that everything should be free, but itself I'm like, there's currently a student debt crisis, and these people they went to school to try to stuff and get and better their lives and their families' lives, and it's like all they did was just get stuck inside of a trap, in a lot of people's opinions. So that yeah. Anyway, she also says she wants black people to stop getting killed, and like I said, I'm kind of in agreement. I'm looking at Jabari Peoples, and so if marijuana was rescheduled and legalized, Jabari Peoples, in my opinion, would probably not be dead right now. So yeah, and especially he got killed while pretty much at that time, hemp and things of the nature should have been legal. Because Jabari Peoples was killed on June the 23rd, 2025, and Andy Witt's bill HB 445 went into effect on July 1st, 2025. And again, those hemp shops are getting raided at the same time on June 23rd, 2025. And this is before the deadline. So anyway, or the beginning of the implementation of HB 445. Again, that was created by Andy Witt and signed by Kay Ivey, who are both Republicans. So let's see. So we're in agreement, Cardi B. So she said she also wants justice for black people getting killed. She said if I kill somebody, I go to jail. So if a police officer kills somebody, he needs to be examined and possibly go to jail. So think about George Floyd. And do I agree with how things played out for the officer? I think his name was Chauvin or whatever. That who knows? You probably have to re-examine it, because during that period of time, people did have COVID or could have COVID, and yeah, and they said they I think when they did the blood test or whatever, there was some hints of doubt in regards to how George Floyd died. So that is there. So it's like it is what it is. So she said she wanted also more child care options, because mothers they have to go to work, and so that like a ease in regards to the burden on mothers. And she said that also students that are going to college, she said that a way for them to get food and transportation and stuff like that. So some kind of finance situation. So and so let's see here. Let me pause for a second. So Cardi B's main concern was basically Medicare and school. And so Joe Biden, I think at the end of the conversation, and Joe Biden, I think he said in that conversation with her that he was going to people who made less than $125,000 a year. He said that they would get free schooling. Right? Let me pause a second. Okay, so I'm back. So Joe Biden did not implement a nationwide federal program for free college tuition for families making less than $125,000 a year, although he did propose it in the interview with Cardi B. Um, and it was an initiative. Oh goodness, it was a proposal, but did not pass Congress as a federal policy, apparently. And so he did tell Cardi B and he also said at the end of his. Whew, I'm tired. He also said at the end of pause, Jesus. But he also said at the end of the interview with Cardi B that he he said, and I quote Joe Biden, "I promise I'll make mistakes as president, but I admit to the mistakes that I've made, and you're never going to have to wonder whether I'll keep my word." And Cardi B said at the end of this interview, "All right," and Joe Biden said, "Thank you." And Cardi B said, "I would like to see it." In regards to the free tuition for people having 120 people who make less than $125,000 a year to get free college, basically. She said, "I would like to see it." And Joe Biden specifically said, he said, "Just check me out. I've never broken my word. Anything I've said I was going to do, never in my life." And yet, that happened. Oh, but not only that. So, apparently, in November 2023, New York, which I think that's where Cardi B is from, there was $120 million budget cut, and so Cardi B, she ended up having to criticize Mayor Eric Adams and the Biden administration, and she basically said she said we're gonna be drowning in rats. She said school's gonna suffer, the police officers who secure areas or whatever, they're gonna suffer, and what else? Libraries are going to go down, et cetera, et cetera. She said she said they're gonna be New York's gonna be was gonna be drowning inside of rats, and raccoons and squirrels are gonna be twerking inside the streets. That was funny. Anyway, so Joe Biden, he broke his promise apparently, or he broke his in my opinion, he broke his word. So let's see if Donald Trump could actually help out Cardi B by doing something. Also, because looking at Donald Trump's track record in regards to him fulfilling his promises, right? So far, um, well, him actually doing something. I'm not saying fulfilling his promises because marijuana still has not been rescheduled yet. But looking at the problem in regards to Maria Machado. Pause a second. Okay, so yeah, I don't know why I stopped there, but I think I was talking about Maria Corina Machado. Donald Trump basically fixed her problem by basically extracting Nicolas Maduro from Venezuela and trying to prosecute him inside the United States. Let's see here. So, who knows? Maybe Donald Trump can do something in regards to R. Kelly, in reference to K. Michelle. Maybe Donald Trump could give R. Kelly like a Let me pause a second. Okay, so I think it's called a conditional pardon for R. Kelly. I just spit by mistake. It's gonna probably piss off a lot of people though. So I'm like, But when you think about Bill Clinton though, and Bill Clinton possibly getting away with a lot of sexual misconduct, and yet a black man is inside of jail and he's not. And keep in mind also, I think that R. Kelly was imprisoned, I think during Joe Biden's term, right? I think, and Diddy as well too, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but I think anyway. I think R. Kelly and Diddy were in prison while under a Democratic president. Crazily enough. Anyway, and yet the white people they're out and about and doing whatever. So I think that's Cardi. As I already said, Cardi B. Um, I don't know what Donald Trump could do for Cardi B. Um, in my opinion, find some way to ease student debt, because that's a major thing. We're going we're going through a student debt crisis. So, yeah. Let me pause a second. Legalize marijuana. I mean, they've already made They've already said that distilling states creating penalties for people distilling their own hard liquor in their homes is considered. They consider it now as of April 10th, 2026. That it's unconstitutional. To levy these heavy taxes on people that just want to just live their lives and make their own alcohol in their own homes. And the same thing, in my opinion, goes for growing your own hemp or weed or whatever, or marijuana. Why all these penalties in regards to that when we've already seen all the health benefits in regards to marijuana? Now, alcohol, you've seen all the bad things that can come up with alcohol, and yet it's legal. So anyway, pause a second. And again, I'm still thinking about R. Kelly and him being inside of jail, and also Bill Cosby being inside of jail and whatever. And yeah, it's like Bill Clinton, he's like Teflon Bill or something like that. It's like Democrats. As a matter of fact, I went back through and watched the Jennifer Flowers news coverage in regards to what they said about her. And pretty much there's this one man, his name was, let me pause a second. Okay, so the video is called Bill Clinton, Jennifer Flowers Infidelity, January 1992. And this is the man right here. Pause for a second. And here's, again, his name is Joe Grand Mason. And so he basically said that he doesn't care if, and he's a Democrat, by the way, Joe Grand Mason, I believe. And he said he doesn't even care if somebody's sleeping there with their family pets. Let me pause. I cannot talk right. But he said that he doesn't care if somebody sleeps with their family pet, in reference to Bill Clinton. So that's crazy. The timestamp is 48 minutes and 45 seconds. Yeah. And again, the name of the video is called Bill Clinton, Jennifer Flowers Infidelity, January 1992. Now I'll hold this up right here. Yep. And here's the transcript. I think it's at the bottom now. Yeah. So it's like these Democrats, they've always defended each other or whatever, especially these white men or whatever. But it's if you look at R. Kelly and the black icons in general, they were not shielded. They got shafted. So that's all I'm saying. Thinking about K. Michelle. So, and let me say this clearly. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've said a lot of fucked up shit. I haven't done any fucked up shit. No. So it is what it is. So let me get on to some other points, then we'll call it a day. Pause. And I think the man was referencing like anything that's going on inside that was going on at the time with Bill Clinton and Jennifer Flowers. And Jennifer Flowers, it's her name starts off with the letter G instead of J. So anyway, pause. I thought that Monica Lewinsky was the only scandal that Bill Clinton had, mind you. I know that he had several others. Because I would have been 8 years old during the peak of all this stuff that was going on with Bill Clinton, and for Bill Clinton to start to be now having the same astrology that he did back then, it's insane. Something huge is going to go down with Bill Clinton. I don't know what it is though. Soon, I'm talking about. I've already went over this throughout all my other videos. So May 4th, we may see something. We may see something with Bill Clinton, and June the 13th, 2026, maybe another peak moment, and then the things may end around July the pause. So it should end around like in regards to whatever scandal that's going on in regards to Bill Clinton. It should end around July the 19th or the 20th, 2026. So you pause for a second. Okay, so today is currently April the 13th, 2026. I did say that on April the 15th or around that date that for Donald Trump he's going to be mad, so mad he may flip the table over. And see, I think that he has an aspect to his Mars. And the last time Donald Trump's Mars was aspected recently was all the way back, I believe, on April the 8th, 2025. And that's when he signed executive orders in regards to Miles Taylor and Christopher Krebs and Joe Biden's auto pen pardons that were signed. So that happened. Also, let's see here. So that's April the 15th, 2026 for Donald Trump. On April the 19th and 20th, 2026, that's when Transit Mercury, Transit Mars, and Transit Saturn in the sky will conjoin. And every time that Transit Mercury has conjoined Transit Mars in the sky, explosive information has came out in regards to Epstein. So let me get the lore for that real quick. Pause. Okay, so on October 20th, 2025, Transit Mercury conjoined Transit Mars in the sky, and that's when some news. That's when Prince Andrew he dropped his Duke of York title. But not only that, Virginia Frey's book came out, called Nobody's Girl, and I think there was internet outages around this time as well too. And there was, I think, there may have been some Epstein files that released. I forgot now, but anyway, moving on. So, Transit Mercury conjoined Transit Mars in the sky again on November the 12th, 2025. And this is like around the time that the government was opened back up. But also around this time, I think Danny Williams / Clinton, he released his new book called The Forgotten Son. And that was released on November the 6th or the 8th, 2025. And so days later, let me pause a second. So days later, I believe that the government, Congress, they created and not created, they all pushed through the Epstein Transparency Act, which was signed into law on I believe November the 19th, 2025, and that's and I think that it's basically said that all the Epstein files had to be released to the public by December 19th, 2025. But all the files still have not been released yet. So moving on, I think other stuff happened around this time too, but I'm just going down the dates. So what happened again I'm just trying to stress just how important these dates are. So on January the 18th, 2026, that's when Bill and Hillary Clinton, they were almost held in contempt of Congress because they missed their depositions. They missed their deposition that was supposed to be set for January 14th, 2026. So again, it's this transit happened on January 18th, 2026, where Transit Mercury conjoined Transit Mars in the sky. So moving on March the 15th, 2026, that's when Transit Mercury conjoined Transit Mars in the sky. And I believe this is around the time that Darren Endike and Richard Kahn, they were both subpoenaed to testify in front of Congress. And it was let me pause. Okay, so it was revealed that Epstein, he did have his computer hard drives were taken by I believe investigators or something like that. So that happened, and maybe some other stuff came out too, but I forget for now. So anyway, so this transit is going to happen again on April the 20th, 2026, and this is the last time it's going to hit in regards to hit for a few years. So and like I saw, so my point is that the remainder of this month is going to be crazy in regards to Epstein, seemingly looking at the astrology. But for some reason, Trump is angry and ready to flip the table over on the 15th or the 16th of April, 2026. Not only that, on the 22nd of April, 2026, J.D. Vance, he would have a progression of Mars as well. And the last time that he had a progression of Mars was there was 8 days before Charlie Kirk's assassination. So that happened, and then let's see here. Days later, in regards to on April the 24th, 2026, that's when Usher Vance her progressed a moon make aspect to her, I believe her Uranus, and that means that she should be shocked around that time. So the last time that we had a slew of people having aspects to Mars and then Uranus, something crazy happened. So something crazy can happen during the late parts of April and so on. Because, like I said, Bill Clinton's going through the same astrology as the Monica Lewinsky scandal and his impeachment trial. So, yeah. Um, and I also said that for Melania Trump, she needs to be careful because on April the 26th, which is her birthday, which is also my birthday, transit Uranus will change signs and go into the sign of Gemini, and that deals with the United States and wars, either civil wars or just wars in general. And it's just weird that it's on her birthday and my birthday too. And understand also that Charlie Kirk in my charts, there's a lineup inside of our charts. Like his natal sun is conjunct my ascendant or the fixed star Spica. But also, I believe I don't have his exact birth time, but his natal sun also made a trine to Donald Trump's natal sun. So that's weird that his natal sun was conjunct my ascendant. So, and understand that your ascendant is your sun and your ascendant and your moon are very, very important inside of the sun, the moon, and the ascendant are very, very important points inside of a person's chart. So for Melania Trump to have her sun conjunct my sun, it means something that's very, very important. That's why I said she needs to be careful. The remainder of this month, especially while Donald Trump's having bad astrology, JD Vance is having bad astrology, and Usher Vance is having bad astrology, and the collective is having bad astrology too because transit Mercury is conjoining transit Saturn in the sky, but not only that, transit Mars too. Transit Mars is conjoining Saturn inside the sky. That means a very, very bad event can happen around this time. Now, the dates that are concerning me also is that let me pull it up real quick and pause. It's really the remainder of April. However, the dates that stand out to me is going to be on April 23rd, 2026. That's when transit Venus will conjoin transit Uranus in the sky. You know that for Venus is the co-ruler of the sign Taurus, and so that's the ruler of my natal sun, but also Melania Trump's natal sun as well. So something shocking can happen in regards to somebody that's under the influence of Venus. And I'm double ruled by Venus because Libra is also co-ruled by Venus. I'm a Libra rising and a Taurus sun, mind you. And not just that, I have a Gemini moon. So my chart is really being aspected right now. And I don't know too much about Melania Trump's chart or whatever. I'm just saying that she needs to be careful on the remainder of this month. Also on April the 23rd, 2026, the moon will make an aspect to is it Mars? Let me pause a second. So yeah, the moon will make an aspect to transit sun inside the sky. But not only that, it's gonna also make an aspect to transit Mars in the sky as well. And Mercury. The Mars, Mercury, and Saturn conjunction is gonna make a trine to it. And also Lilith is making a trine to all this as well. So it's like it's a bad lineup. Even if it is a trine, it just means that something could play out, especially with Donald Trump's circle having bad astrology going on inside the charts. That's why they need to be very, very careful at the end of this month. And specifically, Melania Trump needs to be very, very careful. That's all I'm saying. So let's see here. Or anybody inside of Donald Trump's circle, but he needs to be careful. So that's gonna be it for me, I think. Let me pause for a second. Okay, so the last time that Usher Vance had a progression to her Uranus was on February 26th, 2026, right? Pause. Yeah. And that was when the Clintons were subpoenaed to testify on the same day that Resident Evil 9 came out as well. So, so something that was said on around February 26th, 2026, it shocked Usher Vance. So she may get shocked again on April the 24th, 2026. It may be similar or worse. I don't know. So again, so on April the 15th, 2026. Donald Trump will have a aspect to Mars, his progress to Mars, or near Mars, so like that, to Mars. And so, like I said, the last time this happened was when Miles Taylor and Christopher Krebs and Joe Biden, they had executive orders drawn up against them. And yeah, we'll see what comes up with that. And so that's why I said. That's why I keep saying that on the 15th of April 2026, Donald Trump is just flip the table and be like, I'm coming at all y'all bitches. So yeah, it is what it is. I guess I'm finna call it a day. I think that's everything. Let me pause for a second to make sure. Pause. Now I think all the way back, I believe on July around the pause. Let me pause. Yeah, so it was July 2025. I kept saying that Usher Vance needed to be careful around that period of time because I saw bad astrology going on in regards to Donald Trump's circle. And so it may not be anything bad for Melania Trump, but she still needs to be very, very careful. Because just the astrology in general, it just looks weird. So, but I kept saying that Usher Vance needs to be careful around that time, not knowing that Ghislaine Maxwell was been interviewed around that time. And because it came out later on, like a month later, that was what was going on around that time. So it may be a huge event in regards to Epstein that goes down, starting very, very soon. But I'm just saying, Melania Trump, be careful. That's all. Also, around the time of July, I think July the 25th or the 27th or whatever. That's when Shane Tamura, he ended up driving cross country and going to New York and shooting the building up. So something still did happen. Also, a lot of airplanes they kept getting downed. So yeah, a lot of incidents happened around that time. So it was just crazy. So all I'm saying is just for Melania Trump, be very, very careful. That's all. Because it's crazy that Charlie Kirk's natal sun was conjunct my ascendant. And so Melania Trump's her natal sun is conjunct my natal sun. That's all I'm saying. So I think I'm gonna check one more thing, and I'm gonna call it a day after that. I do wonder though, was R. Kelly inside of the Epstein files? Pause. So yeah, that's it for me. I just know that since the astrology in my chart, it showed that from March of 2025 until May of 2026, I'm supposed to be saying something very, very important. No matter how crazy I look or whatever, all the shit might just come true. And if it don't, I don't really care. It's like nothing else works inside of my life except for this. I shouldn't be able to even post these videos. Shouldn't be able to record them, but somehow that's working. Anyway, every time I try to step and quit or do something else happens to me. So you notice I said I quit the other day, and this happened. I got into a fight with a fishbowl and lost. So who knows? Maybe I will get maybe Donald Trump will end up giving me all this money and all this other stuff, or whatever. Maybe I might, instead of saving his life, I might save Melania Trump's life. Whatever. Anyway, that's it for me. Bye.